So, Turning Point founder Charlie Kirk says the transgender movement is a scheme to get us to accept transhumanism and have us plugged into the metaverse all the time. Is that true? Let's find out. So, welcome back to the channel today, everyone. So, a video is circulating the internet of Charlie Kirk talking about the deeper meaning of trans ideology. Now, here's the clip.
Go a level deeper, but you guys are smart, you'll get it. The transgender movement actually matters even more than biomedical fascism, and they actually are together because the transgender movement is an introductory phase to get you to strip yourself of your humanity to mesh with machines. It's called transhumanism. They want you to say, okay, well, I can choose any gender. Why can't I just have like an exoskeleton of some sort of machine around me? This is what Meta is about, the Metaverse, kids staring at screens all day long. This is documented, this is proven, this is where Silicon Valley is going. This is why they're so insistent on this transgender thing, because if you stop being a man, then maybe you could stop being a human being. Maybe you can kind of just plug into some sort of machine. This is where their control, their profit motive is coming down the stream. There's a ton of literature about this. I'm far from the first person to comment on it, but I'm just kind of connecting the dots for all of you. Like, what is the agenda here? Well, the agenda is kind of like Ready Player One meets Inception, where you kind of just hook up to a machine all day long and you're controlled by 5 companies that control your thoughts and your feelings. And the real world actually ends up being the not real world, where everyone just kind of wears goggles all day long. That's the deeper significance of the transgender movement that no one wants to talk about.
Now, can I first point out that he's basically describing the plot to the Matrix? Like, am I the only one who sees this? So, what is transhumanism? Transhumanism is a class of philosophies that seek to guide us towards a post-human condition. Transhumanism shares many elements of humanism, including a respect for reason and science, a commitment to progress, and valuing of human or transhuman existence in life. So first in the Charlie Kirk video, he had talked about like the exoskeleton. And I want to point out because a lot of people were getting this wrong when they were responding to this, and as if he's saying that basically it's an exoskeleton so that you can continue to live your life normally, or that you basically become Iron Man, for example. Um, but that's not what it is. Like that, he's talking about the living apparatus that would keep you alive while you're plugged into basically the Matrix. But seriously, I find this interesting because I don't think that I would necessarily connect this completely to the transgender movement. But otherwise, what he's saying is very plausible. I have noted plenty of times on Twitter how we are seeing movies or TV shows that were set as cautionary tales play out in front of us. Like, I see Black Mirror episodes come to life far too often, as we're seeing. Like, for example, the idea of a social credit score.
Okay with that? It's on the house.
Sounds awesome. See you tomorrow, JJ.
See you, Lacey.
And that episode, it didn't turn out too well. And there are plenty of episodes that didn't turn out too well. And we are seeing these concepts that were presented in these episodes come to real life. Even the metaverse played out in the last season of Black Mirror, where you had a virtual reality video game where 2 people could go in and literally feel and touch each other like you would in real life. In fact, this is something that I would have dreamed about when I was young, as a transsexual, being able to experience life in a different way, which I think is one of the reasons why people are so in tune with wanting this metaverse, because it's almost like a fantasy. Now, and I said at the launch of the metaverse that it reminded me kind of Wall-E mixed with the Matrix. And if you remember Wall-E, it was a world where everybody was fat and lazy and living in these chairs, floating around, and in basically like an alternate universe. That's what it kind of started to remind me of when I first started seeing like this virtual reality space where you can live in different, live as somebody else basically. Which this also plays to Charlie's point. So he's looking at a narrow focus into transgenderism, whereas you can look at some of this as the goal of wokeism as a whole. Now, for example, we don't encourage people to be healthier. We'll just give you a shot. We want this social credit score so we can tell how good you are of a person in society based off of your social credit score. This is meant to control your behavior. The pandemic has caused people to not even want to leave their house and only do work remotely. So virtual work. Again, just like in the metaverse, you can be with people, but you're not really with people. They want us living in our pods, eating bugs, and then we have a gender ideology, which makes people think that you can change your biology, which in the metaverse you can. But just because it has the word trans in it doesn't mean it's conflating and it's pushing us more towards transhumanism. It basically tells people in this simulation, you can look and feel how you do inside. The rules of this world are not the same as the realities of the world in which you actually live in. I mean, video games and social media have done a great job of getting people addicted to their screens already. Instead of, going and playing outside like we were when we were kids, they're on their video games and their screens. And I don't say this to shade any gamers or social media. I mean, I play video games. I'm on social media constantly. So I get it, but you have to limit your interactions with these devices. Otherwise, you get sucked in, and we see kids getting addicted to these vices. And all of this creates this world that Charlie Kirk is talking about. So, do I think it's fair to pin this down as the motive behind the transgender movement? No, I don't. I disagree with this. And I think I've shown on So do I think it's fair to pin this down as like the motive behind the transgender movement? No, I don't. And I think I've shown on this channel that there are much bigger reasons and much more plausible motives behind the trans movement and gender ideology. But it does shine a light on what it seems leftism is pushing towards, and in which is these dystopian futures. And the metaverse is just the next step in creating one of these dystopian futures. But as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Click that like and subscribe button below. Follow me across all social media platforms, and I will see you guys next time.